Hi, hello. I want to plead that you watch this video till the end. If you don't watch till the end, you will misunderstand what I am talking about in this video. Thank you and God bless you. All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is the End Time Truth Television channel. We urge you to subscribe to the channel, activate the bell icon by selecting all so that the next time we upload a new video, you will be among the first persons to be notified by Google. I'll be seeing you in the next video. Till then, shalom. Hello out there, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are watching me from. Thank you and God bless you. Here is the latest update as it has to do with the new leadership of the Synagogue Church of All Nations and some of the disciples in the church. You know, recently, about 2 days ago, it was reported and we saw the video that some of the disciples of the late Prophet TB Joshua were evicted from the synagogue, and there was no hiding it, there was no denying it, because we all saw the video and we saw many other members who were there jeering the evicted disciples. And so the same last week, around Thursday or thereabouts, Mrs. Evelyn Joshua obtained a judgment from the court that added her name to the BOT, Board of Trustees of the church, which was formerly not the case. As it were before, it was just Joshua, one of the daughters, and one other prophet. And so when TB Joshua died, there happened to be some kind of tussle and struggle for leadership. It was immediately permuted that that the wife was going to take over immediately as the leader of the synagogue. But then a certain doctor who is a foreign national, came to the internet and addressed the people that they had not appointed anybody as the leader of the church. Now, here, what I am bringing to you today is a comprehensive report that is from an impeccable source. And I'm also going to read from a Nigerian news media, which is also very respected, The Guardian. Now, this thing is everywhere in the news. Now, there is a reported looting of money and properties of the late TB Joshua. The reason was that while TB Joshua was alive, it has been said that his own wife was not as influential as it ought to be in other ministries. These disciples were so powerful, and they were even closer to their man of God than the wife. So eventually, when the man passed on, it became glaring to these people that if they don't grab whatever they could grab now, it might backfire on them. It was said that they came together and conspired, to sideline the wife of the cleric, the late cleric, TB Joshua. And so they started looting. And so today, as it were, EFCC had been brought into the case. EFCC is an arm of government that deals with financial corruption, financial corruption. Now, so I'm going to read you the news as it is. Now, I needed to lay this foundation because so many people who are living in denial, they don't want to hear anything. They don't want to hear anything. But the truth is that if it is there on the internet, it is already out there. You may not necessarily hear it from me, but definitely there is every likelihood that you will hear it. So there was a power tussle in SCOAN, and then this looting that started. And so the action that is being taken now is being taken forcefully now that TB Joshua's wife has, had the power and the authority to direct affairs in the church. So I am reading it to you from the Guardian newspaper. There are indications that the EFCC, Economic and Financial Crimes may have invited 20 disciples of the Synagogue Church of All Nations for questioning over alleged financial fraud and diversion of funds left by the late founder of SCOAN, Temitope Balogun Joshua. The invitees include Nigerian and foreign prophets and prophetesses of the church. According to the letter of invitation cited by The Guardian yesterday, the church is expected to release them to report for an interview through the Special Investigation Team. The letter signed by EFCC Lagos State Zone Commander Ahmed Gali said the disciples are being investigated for allegedly siphoning funds and breaking of the church vault. Those expected to resume at the office of the commission today, Monday morning, are Obasa Damilola Tinuola, Obasa Folake, Mosun Adeloju, Yakubu Abeni, Omoito Omoye, Adebola Olamide Morenike, Buso Racine, Eugene Rademeya, Cindy Elizabeth Wijaja, Fanny Emma Alfred, Angela Mary Brandit, Graham Nadine, Tonge Christopher, Catherine Anfar, Enrique Miguel, Olayinka Deborah Egbejobi, Mary Ann Usheshibe, David Omojeve Joseph, Tonge Ruth, Paulo Sandoval Allison. A source who spoke in confidence with The Guardian yesterday said the invitees include prophets from Nigeria, Mexico, South Africa, Senegal, who had been in close contact with the deceased prophet, are alleged to have emptied a vault of money located in the church since the passing of TB Joshua, and also put up his private aircraft for sale. They have carried out huge fraud that has made many of them multi-millionaires since Baba's death. Many of them are on the list of EFCC. There are up to 20. They seized the church immediately after the prophet died in June and didn't want his wife, Mrs. Evelyn Joshua, to be part of the church. They have made themselves overseers. They have established a governing council that, with some living in the prayer mountains, they went to the vault at night and used the Ghana Must Go bag to loot money. They also went to open the Emmanuel Global Network, where they asked international partners to donate without the knowledge of Evelyn, the source said. The source revealed that contact information on 4 of the late TB Joshua's mobile phones was wiped off weeks after his death. TB Joshua's phones were seized by some disciples for some time, and when Mama was asking for his phones and it became an issue, they returned the phones to Evelyn and wiped out both the memory and contacts in the phone. They had worked with Baba over the years, and they are prophets and prophetesses and people who traveled a lot with Baba before his death. Some of them are 50 years of age, and some were asked to go in the past. Meanwhile, the church has officially named the wife of late TB Joshua, Evelyn, as the new leader of the church. In a statement on its verified Facebook page, SCOAN said all church activities would be under the guidance of God and the leadership of Mrs. Evelyn Joshua. It also urged members and followers to pray for Mrs. Evelyn as she takes on her new role. We urge you all to join us in prayers as we wish for God's guidance and divine wisdom in her new God-ordained role. Mrs. Evelyn Joshua will shortly address the teaming members of the SCOAN and the Emmanuel TV partners who have waited so long for the new phase in the Great Commission, the statement added, and that which she has done, and I have done the video here. And so recall that there have been reports of the leadership tussle in the church following the death of TB Joshua. The alleged tussle had led to the eviction of some disciples of the late prophet from the church premises. Following the forceful eviction of some disciples residing in the church at the weekend, after Mrs. Evelyn was announced chairperson, board of trustee, the church has said it was in the process to secure major assets of the church and for a comprehensive audit. It was gathered that the leadership tussle began when concerned members of the church moved for Evelyn to be among the BOT, which was formerly occupied by TB Joshua, his daughter, Promise, and a disciple, Joseph David. A federal high court, Lagos, has already appointed Mrs. Evelyn as a trustee of SCOAN based on a petition brought by concerned members of the church, represented by Mr. Kola Karim and Mrs. Moji Oguntoyibo, against the incorporated trustees of the Synagogue Church of All Nations, SCOAN. Justice Tijani Ringin gave judgment in suit number FHC/L/CP/1109/2021. Also, statement signed by a lawyer from the legal department of the church on Sunday, James Ahigwe, said there were no arrests and detention of some disciples by the newly appointed SCOAN Board of Trustees chairperson and leader of the church, Mrs. Evelyn. He appealed to the public and friends of the church to discountenance reports of alleged victimization, as it is a narrative conjured to discredit the church. So, having said this much, I hope that the bitter elements in the society will drink water and rest, because there is nothing under the sun that can be kept a secret forever. The truth is that there is crisis in SCOAN, and we are not happy about it. We are not rejoicing over it. How we wish that the millions that are following both from close units and far away, following this church or this ministry, from afar, how we wish that all of them are Christians indeed, and how we wish that if the foundation was bad, that this new leadership can correct it. But I want you to understand that things like this are inevitable in any place, in any church where you have one man as the champion, one man show. When eventually suddenly the man is taken away, you will have troubles and problems like this. And that is why sometimes I ask a question, because a church as big as Synagogue Church of All Nations, and it is called the Church of God, is it that God didn't know that he was going to, that the general overseer would die? Now, how come that in the Old Testament, the Lord would always give the leaders information and say, prepare your house, appoint such and such person as your successor, do this and that and that and that. Now, a perfect example was or is in the life of Reinhard Bonnke and his disciple, Daniel Kolenda. Now, before evangelist Reinhard Bonnke died, he retired and handed over the mantle of leadership to that man. And that man is never his biological son, but you can see how easily and seamlessly the transition was made, and the young man is still carrying on from where evangelist Reinhard Bonnke left it. Now, so suddenly this man that was pastoring this large movement, the synagogue, suddenly he dropped dead, and there was no plan in place as for who would succeed him. Now, what you see here is that actually somebody is out to settle scores with some persons that actually did certain things, against her and against some of them, because it was gathered, or it was alleged, that these disciples are so powerful, they are so close to the man, and at some point in time, they are those that determines and decides who can gain access to see, the prophet. And so in some quarters, they probably have been hated by some section of the church. And that may be the reason why the people who gathered were laughing at those that we saw leaving, because, when their founder was alive, they had all the powers, and in the process, they had made enemies. In the process, they made friends as well, but probably those that, hate them might be more in number. And so that could explain why people gathered and were jeering them and were mocking them and laughing at them. So to them, their powers have been cut, short. Now, when you put all these things together, both the looting and the attempt to sell the private jet of TB Joshua, and majority of you who are here, jumping up and down, defending him, would always tell us that TB Joshua had no private jet. I don't have anything against that. If his ministry had grown, large enough, and that he could afford a private jet without enslaving people, that is okay, but majority of you who are hypocrites will come here and say that he was not owning any private jet, that what he had was a cargo jet with which he carries bags of rice and all that. But it is true, TB Joshua bought a private jet some years ago that was reported to be to the tune of $60 million. and his seemed to be more expensive than that of the rest, but it was kept secret. Now, as he died, these disciples, it was alleged again, were making attempts to sell that private jet, selling it, claiming that the man was in debt, that there was a mortgage, that he was supposed to, to clear. And then, somebody quickly revealed that there was nothing like that, and that was how that was scuttled. I don't want to make it too long, but the truth is that there is crisis in the SCOAN, and if EFCC has come in, definitely, there is something that is fishy. Well, I would like to read your comments. I'd like you to drop your comment. Yeah, if you're a Christian, put down your comment as a Christian. If you're not, speak the language of your father. It is okay. Your father, the devil, because devil has the dirty language, So when you speak his language, there is no problem you are from him. And so, for those of you wonderful people, I love all of you, both haters and lovers. God bless you all in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. I'll be seeing you in the next video. Until I come your way again, I remain your brother in the Lord. From me to you, shalom.